channel, Bookmark by Aaliyah. Welcome if you're new here. It is time for my March wrap-up. So I'm going to go over the books that I read in March. A lot of them I did vlogs on, and some of them I did go in depth on the vlog. So it's basically going to be just like a rapid fire. You see, your girl had to get in the mix today. So, I mean, what do you do? But if you notice the angle is a little different, it's because I'm going to combo my TBR jar prompts, picks, my April reads. So that's what we're going to do. 7 books are here in this wrap up. I am reading one now, and today is the 26th. So technically 8 books, but one I did DNF. So first, Carrie Soto is back, Taylor Jenkins Reid. As I said in a previous video, this is the book that I had no intentions on reading, no interest whatsoever, but people kept telling me, you have to read this book. I'm so glad y'all told me to read this book because it was a 5-star for me. It took me out of here and took me to Wimbledon. It took me to all of her matches, all of her training. I feel like I'm BFFs with her dad. So if you don't know, this book follows a tennis star. She's like basically your Serena Williams. Won all the titles. She was well known, but not so much for a good reason. Yes, she was a very good tennis player, but she had no feeling. She had no emotion. She was just like, they called her the battle axe. So y'all see why I wasn't like rooting for her, because she's just not a likable person at all. She made her first appearance in Malibu Rising, and I did not like her in Malibu Rising. So why would I want to read a book by her, right? Y'all, by the end of this, I felt like Carrie Soto was a real person. Like, when I read like historical fiction and, you know, true events, immediately or while I'm reading, I'm on Google. I'm trying to look at pictures. I want to see like still shots of, you know, whatever. I wanted to do that because that's how real Taylor Jenkins Reid made Carrie Soto seem. So the whole point of this story is that she's in retirement. She comes out of retirement because she sees that up and coming tennis player is about to beat her title, beat her record. And she was like, I can't have that. So I'm coming out of retirement. I'm about to train my butt off and I'm gonna beat this girl. So it's her journey through, you know, all the championships, all the matches, all, you know, her training, her, you know, family life with her dad being her coach. It is good. It is so good. I've learned so much about tennis in this book, to the point that like now, like if tennis is on, like if Serena or Venus or, you know, whoever was playing, I have no idea how tennis works. No idea. I don't know how you get your points. What is a love? I don't know any of those like technical things about tennis, but now I do. Like, it literally taught me the game, and I cannot wait to watch a tennis match. So if you were on the fence like I was about this one, or you have not read this one, please read this book. Me though, I would say that you should read Malibu Rising. You don't have to. And honestly, you might want to read 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six, you know, before you read this book. I really think you should read Taylor Jenkins Reid's books in order, because so many characters pop up in these books. Definitely, the way I read it was 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Malibu Rising, Daisy Jones and the Sixth, in this. So I think you should read them in that order. You do not have to. They are standalones, but it makes your reading experience better when you do that. Okay, that was that. Then I have A Worthy Love, the 4th and last book in the Rise and Fall series. It follows Marissa and it follows Asher. This is their love story. It's hard to explain this book. So in previous books, they're mentioned. Like, it's almost like, I'm not gonna say enemies to lovers, but kind of, because Asher's like this playboy and Marissa's got her stuff together, seemingly, but she doesn't really like him. So they end up in Vegas for one of their friends' like bachelor party combo, and they get into, you know, like a one-night stand thing, but he like does some crazy stuff, so she like hates him. They find out some kind of way there's an accidental marriage that goes down in Vegas. So it is a good story. It is a very good story. I don't want to go into too much detail. I know I did a vlog talking about this book. I don't know how much detail I went in on this book, but this was a very good one. It was a good way to end the series. And I think every single book in this series I gave the same rating, because they were all like real even for me. Like, nothing was up, nothing was down, nothing was worse, nothing was better. this was a good one. So if you are not up on A.E. Valdez, it's a really good series. It's a love story, but it also follows them in their like deeper issues that they have. And it was a really good read. Then I have Play Along, the 4th book in the Windy City series. It goes Mile High, The Right Move, Caught Up, and then this one. This follows Kai, which was in the 3rd book, his brother Isaiah, and dang, what's her name? Kennedy. Follows Kennedy. Kennedy is like the sports therapist, sports, you know, massage, whatever those people are called. Sports therapist, I guess. That she's really overqualified to do that job. But he's been infatuated with her. I want to say in all these books he's been, well, since the last book, because he wasn't in all of them, but since the last book, it set it up for this book, how infatuated he is with her. But she's married, allegedly, and it just goes through her not liking him, because I mean, he's a jock. So she's like, I'm not dealing with none of these players, you know, they all on the same stuff, you know, they got their groupies, they have their one night stands, like I'm not getting caught up in that. So it's got some really deep issues for both of them, and it's both of them trying to bring the other one out of that. Obviously they end up forming a bond, and that's how it goes. I want to say is this another one? This one is a little similar to A Worthy Love, because it's Vegas, it's an accidental marriage, it's funny, like it's got some funny stuff in it, and I love their banter. I love this story. I cannot wait for the 5th book, which is Rio, which is one of the players from the first 2 books. I think he's in all these books, actually. He is hilarious in all the books that he's in. I cannot wait for his story, because he is just like really out here looking for love, because everybody is getting like booed up in all of these books, and he's got a connection with all of these players, even though it's basketball, it's hockey, it's, you know, baseball, it's all these different sports, but they're still in the sports world, so they all kind of know each other, hang out with each other. So he's the only one that doesn't have, you know, somebody. I cannot wait to see who he chooses and how his love story works out. Then we have, y'all already know, The Great Alone. This was a really in-depth vlog, so I'm not going to go over this one at all. Y'all go back and see my previous video on The Great Alone. This was a buddy read that I did with 4 other girls, and I boo-hooed. I cried like a baby. I was in a book slump for about 3 days, really longer. I just forced myself to read A Worthy Love, and I love her. That's all I'm going to say. Y'all already know. Then I have The Best of Friends, Lucinda Berry. I think I read this book in a day. I started it like at night, like before bed, read like 3 or 4 chapters, and I completed the whole book the very next day. Lucinda Berry is like my new Frida McFadden. When I first started reading Frida McFadden, it was like I couldn't put her books down. I'm going to read anything she writes. I will read her grocery list. Like, that's how I felt about Frida McFadden. But after a while, her books just got silly to me. And I'm not like dying to pick up her new books, you know, because they just got silly. I don't know if it's because my taste in reading as a whole, like, just changed, or is her writing, are these books just not that great to me? So I've slowed down on her, but I'm trying to speed up on this one. So she writes almost the same way, with the short chapters, like the kind of cliffhangers at the end of each chapter. Always, like, in her books though, it's always something messy. I've read, this is my 3rd book by her, and I feel like everything is messy. I felt like one I did not like at all. I can't remember. It was the one about the cult. And then Keep Your Friends Close, I read by her. Love that one. That one, this book actually, it reminds me, it's less thriller and more like suspense women's fiction, if that's even a genre. I just made it up, but that's what it is. If you've read anything by like Leanne Moriarty, if you read Big Little Lies, this gives that same vibe, because there are 3 moms with kids. 3 of their sons like are on, what kind of team is it? I want to say soccer. They're all on the soccer team. Something tragic happens with one of the sons, and we need to find out what happened, who's guilty, who did this, and why, you know. So the moms have been best friends since they were like in elementary school, but it was drama back then. It's a messy good time. The only gripe I have about this book is that they kept alluding to something that the three girls when they were younger did or went through, or you know, that it was a secret, but they never told what that was. So it was kind of like, well, what was that for? You know, so that's the only gripe I have. But the way this ended, it made up for it. It made up for, like, you know what I'm saying, the plot holes. It made up for all of that because of the way it ended. And again, these are the type of books you need when you just like are in a slump, or you just don't know what to read and you kind of just want to get in something quick, fast, straight to the point from page one. Lucinda Berry is your girl for that. I cannot wait to read more by her because she's perfect. So I always feel like there's certain authors I always want to have on hand. Like, so when I need that fix of the way they write, I got it. You know what I mean? So she's going to be that author for me. So definitely going to pick up something else by her just so I can have it for a time like this, because I was kind of slumping but kind of not. So this was perfect. Then I have Listen for the Lie, Amy Tintera. I don't know outside of The Couple Next Door. What was the other one? Alice Feeney, His and Hers. I rarely give a thriller 5 stars. I gave this 5 stars. When I was going to read this book and when I was looking at reviews on this book, people kept saying, make sure you listen to it. Make sure you listen to it. I have been putting this book off, because y'all know I really wasn't an audiobook girly probably like 6 months ago, you know, but now like I can incorporate audio with my reading. So I was like, okay, well now it's time to pick this up because I'm actually kind of like getting into audiobooks way more than I did before. Whoever wants to read this book, I'm telling you now, do not read this book. Listen to it. Do it immersively where you're reading and listening, whatever you need to do. But there are podcast elements in this. It makes this story probably 100 times better than it would have been just reading. Because there were times where I was just reading the book. And then it's like, I'm not going to say it got boring. Not boring at all. But I felt it more listening to it. Like the narrators were great. The little music before the podcast started. It is 379 people in this book. You're confused. Everybody has motive. Like you don't know what the heck is going on. But this was awesome. This follows, I can't remember her name right now. What's her name? Lucy and Savvy were best friends. Something happened to Savvy. Lucy's walking down the street, blood all over her. Clearly she did it, but she wasn't convicted. She wasn't convicted because there was no evidence. Like she just wasn't convicted. Like even though her blood is on her, she wouldn't say anything. And she really couldn't get the story out as to what actually happened. So they didn't convict her. She moves away. Obviously to get out this town to think she's a killer. She ends up coming back. I cannot remember why she came back though. I really can't remember. But a guy's doing a podcast and wants to interview her for the podcast. She hasn't really talked to anybody about this night. She hasn't done any interviews. She hasn't done any, you know, anything like that. No media stuff. She decides to do it because honestly, she doesn't remember what happened that night. She wants to know what happened too. If she did it, she did it. She'd rather know. If she didn't do it, she wants to know who did this because this was her best friend. So, oh my God, y'all, the suspense, the thrill. I love this book. I want to read more books with podcast elements. That's why I was on that hunt for None of This Is True. Lola, are you looking up? Did you look on my cup? This is why I wanted to go on that hunt for None of This Is True, because I heard that had a podcast element and people say I got to listen to that too. Awesome. Simply awesome. So, for the DNF that I did. I DNF'd Harlem Rhapsody, y'all. When I first started this book, it was good. Like, I was like, I'm going to love this book. It's going to be a great book. It has such high ratings. I'm going to love it. It's not that I didn't love it. I think this is a personal opinion, basically, which all this is my opinion. So don't take anything that I say about any of these books to heart because you're not going to feel the same way I feel. But this is just my opinion on it. I went into this book knowing that it was about Jessie Fawcett, the literary editor for the Crisis magazine that I hope all have heard about, and W.E.B. Du Bois. I don't really know how to say his name, never have. I thought I was going into this, I thought it was going to be a little more like drama with their relationship because he is a married man and she's been having this years-long affair with him. He's older than her. We get that. And maybe I just didn't get to that part yet, y'all. But it started off really, really good. It was setting the scene, you know, for so many things. But then it just became a history lesson. Social studies, History was not my jam in high school, okay? That was the class that I'd be sleep in. So now that I'm older, I kind of respect history a little more, and I learn a lot from it, and I appreciate it more than I did when I was 16, 17 years old. But when I'm reading, I want to read for enjoyment. I don't want a history lesson. I don't want just a bunch of info dumping, like to the point like I'm not going to retain this. This is too much information. I would have loved to pull, you know, the start of Langston Hughes and County and all the different people that are in this book. I would love to have learned so much more about them, but it was too many figures in our history to keep up with, and it just became an info dump, and I really wasn't here for that. People like in comments on like Goodreads and things like that said, like, you know, like after the 60% mark that it, you know, the drama happened, the you know, whatever. But I needed that to happen like at the 30% mark, 40% mark. And like I said, this is a personal preference. I could be missing out. I want to say this is a soft DNF, but I just don't know. I just don't know. I went between reading physically and audiobook, and it just still, it wasn't, I loved it. The writing was good. Like, I love the narrators, but it wasn't doing it for me. And that's how I ended up picking up the Lucinda Berry book, because I felt the slump coming on, because I just wasn't enjoying myself like I thought I would. So I did DNF this. Right now, I'm reading Instructions for Dancing. It's in my room, and I always forget to bring my current book because it sits on my nightstand. So I'm reading Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. I'll put it up here somewhere. It is such a sweet story. It's YA. It's about a girl who, she kind of has visions. When she sees people kissing, she can see like their whole relationship, how it started, when it got good, and how it's going to end. Because to her, heartbreak equals love and time, which it does. And she basically is going through a situation with her parents, and she just doesn't believe in love anymore. It's got a lot of bookish elements because she's a book girly. She got rid of all of her contemporary romance books. She just does not believe in love anymore just because of what she's seen in her household. And she meets a guy, and it may or may not change her whole mind on the concept of love. I don't know where the story is really going. I don't know how it's going to end. Lucy loves books and bags. Told me it tore her heart out. So something sad is going to happen, because it's all these little, you know, lines telling you like love doesn't last. It always ends up in pain. Like, and if she's falling in love with this guy, I already see where this is going. I just don't know how her heart's going to break, or how his heart's going to break. I really don't know. I'm about a little past 50% in this book, and I'll be done with this at the end of March. So that'll be, you know, my 8th book and my wrap up. So that was my wrap up. Hope you enjoyed. Hope if you haven't read some of those books on my wrap up, that, you know, you put them on your shelf, because they are really, really good. I really had a good reading month outside of that slight slump I was in after The Great Alone, but I guess it was a good slump. I did a poll, y'all, because this month was a good reading month, but I did struggle. If it wasn't for the buddy read, if it wasn't for the books that I knew I wanted to read this month, which was Listen for the Lie and A Worthy Love. Those were the only 2 books that I knew I was going to read this month. It was a struggle, honestly, trying to pick those books. So I was like, do I want to struggle again this month, or do I want to do a TBR jar? So I put the poll on YouTube. Excuse me, ma'am, can we take this somewhere? Why do we have to get the squeakers? So clearly, you know, she's got the squeaker now, so you already know what's about to go down. She went back to mutilation. So I'll put the poll up so you can see like the majority of the votes as of like before I sat down to do this was that y'all wanted me to do the TBR jar. I got a new TBR jar for Christmas. One of my coworkers, shout out to Gianna, I guess she looked at one of my old videos, hated my jar, so she got me a new one. So I got a new jar, and we are going to get started. So I'm going to pick 6 books. I'm going to do one buddy read with She Loves a Good Book. That's going to be a Kennedy Ryan book. What's the name of that book? When You Are Mine. One of Kennedy Ryan's older books. We're going to do that as a buddy read. I have a tentative buddy read with Kayla's Bookish Vibes. I don't know which one we're going to pick. I might end up picking it for us, because she gave me 2 options of the 2. And if I get a prompt that allows me to get that book, I will, or I might just leave that for my 2 like alternative books. So I'm going to pick 6, but I'm probably going to read 8, because that seems like my average. I always read between like 6 to 8 books a month. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll stick to this TBR. If not, we'll play with it. We'll play with it. But I'm going to pick 6 books. All right, y'all. Wish me luck. I think I haven't done one of these since November. So it's been a while. And the prompts are pretty much the same. But my book collection is like different because it's actually all the things that I want to read. Outside of like a few. But I just want to pick those. All right, first prompt, y'all. An author I've enjoyed. Hopefully we keep up. We keep this vibe going. An author I've enjoyed. I don't even know if you can see that. I got people saying that I'm one of the disciples for Kristen Hanna. Sunshine said that. And I was like, you doggone right. But I don't know that I feel like a Kristen Hanna this month. I don't know. I might wait till May for her. She might need to go on an every other month basis because she's going to put me in a slump. I already know. And I don't know that I feel like going through that pain right now. I want some good ones. You know what I mean? I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be sad, yes. Clearly, y'all know I love Jennifer Hartman. I love Brittany Cherry. I love Megan Quinn. I love Rhonda McKnight. Oh, it's going to be harder than I thought. Hell. So, I kind of want to make this easy. I want to know I'm picking a book that I'm going to read and excited to read. So, an author I've enjoyed. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the thing about home. Because I've been wanting to read this book since I read Bitter and Sweet. So that's the one I'm going to pick. I'll read these at the end if you don't know what they're about. But the thing about home, Rhonda McKnight, I'm picking for an author I've enjoyed. Next one. A book rec from a YouTuber I watch. I watch all y'all. So how am I supposed to pick that? Dang, y'all, that's hard because I get a lot of these. So just offhand, just off the top, I have 2. So Shaw Reads Things talked about Junie, and Kayla Bookish Vibes really loved Don't Cry for Me. I don't know. The content in this, I don't know that I'm ready for. But is it magical realism? I don't know that I'm feeling magical realism. But a while back, I did read like a chapter of this. And the writing was chef's kiss. So, I've read books by Daniel Black in the past. Like They Tell Me of a Home. And what's the one? 12 Gates to the City, I think was the name of it. I loved his writing. So, I think I'm going to go with this. So, I'm going to go with Don't Cry for Me, Daniel Black. And this is for the prompt, a book rec from a YouTuber I watch. So, we're going to do Don't Cry for Me. So, right now, I feel like I have 2 cozy reads. I'm going to need some excitement, some love, or something at some point. So, hopefully I pick a prompt. I keep forgetting about those books on the back. I'm going to have to turn this thing around to remind me that I have that. A new to me author. Well, hell, all of these are new to me authors. A lot of them, I will say. A new to me author. I'm just turning this thing round and round. Round and round. Alright, y'all, so I got a problem. I don't know. Let's see. A new to me author. Okay, y'all, so I have 2 like cozy books. I feel like I need like some type of, these glasses crazy. I think I need like some romance in here somewhere. Those books aren't going to be like, those could be heavy. I don't really know how heavy. I know they're going to be good and cozy. So I kind of want something not so much on the lighter side, but something that will kind of make me either laugh or at least giggle. I don't want a thriller for this pick at least. I need to see what else I'm going to get before I pick a thriller. Just because. I'm going to do The Wedding People by Allison Espach. I hear this is funny. I hear it's like a really good time. I hear it's a feel-good book. So we're gonna go with this, a new to me author. All right, y'all. Time for some smut. Because we're a little too serious with some of these, you know what I mean? A book from my favorite genre. So, my favorite genre, technically, is romance. Technically. As of lately, it's historical fiction. But, the OG genre for me is romance. It's what I started on. That's what I know I'm going to enjoy every single time. Unless there's miscommunication in it. So, romance. We are going to get our wish with a little love and smut. So, I don't think it's any romances on. I got the rom-commers. I kind of want to read that in the summer though. So, I think I'm going to do, I don't know. So I have A Long Time Coming, In This Moment, Kayla Sean. I don't think I want to do Brittany Cherry right now, just Grace. I don't think I want to do that yet. Because I think that, I don't know if that's going to be sad or not. I can't remember. I don't really want, it's Brittany Cherry, so it's got to be, well, the blurb says, each day I pray for my husband to love me again. This sounds sad. So I don't think I want that right now. So, A Long Time Coming or Kayla Sean. I think I'm going to do A Long Time Coming. I need to laugh. So, and this one allows me to complete the Meant to Be series for this author. So I'm going to do this, wrap her series up in a nice pretty bow and go from there. So that's 4. All right, y'all. Oh my God, I cannot pick. A spicy read. That's a spicy read. That Megan Quinn. Don't let Megan Quinn books fool you. That is spicy. So, I got options, I think. In This Moment, Revive Me by J.L. Seegers. You doing this on purpose at this point. So, I have Revive Me, the second book in the New Haven series, and new to me author Kayla Sean, In This Moment. Dang, that font is small. Dang, that font is small. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do In This Moment, Kayla Sean. Just because I've seen this book around too much, and I kind of want to get into it, and I heard that it's really, really good. So, it's spicy. All right, y'all, last one. Let's see. Let's make it count. A suspense thriller. Well, I just got it because I was in the mood for it. So we're going to do None of This Is True. That's going to be my suspense thriller podcast element. And then, like I said, those are my 6 books. But then I'm going to read the buddy read. And my alleged buddy read that I definitely am going to get to is The Attic Child. This is another book that I'm going to read. So we have When You Are Mine and this one. So I think in my last book haul, I went over this book. And so I'm not going to like go over it to tell you what it's about. But I did go over it, you know, in that last book haul I just did. So if you have not watched that, go ahead and watch that, because I just don't want to make this video too long since I did do my wrap up with this time. So first thing, the thing about home, Rhonda McKnight. I fell in love with this author when I read Bitter and Sweet by her. It was a 5-star read for me. Honestly, I think it was a little lower, but then I went back and changed it to 5 stars because it was that good. Home is not a place, it's a feeling. Casey Black needs an escape. When her picture-perfect vow renewal ceremony ends in her being left at the altar, the former model turned social media influencer has a new fame, the kind she never wanted. An embarrassing viral video has cost her millions of followers, and her 7-year marriage is over. With her personal and business lives in shambles, Casey runs from New York to South Carolina's low country, hoping to find long-lost family. Family who can give her more answers about her past than her controlling mom/her manager has ever been willing to share. So it looks like she's this big to-do in New York. Drama happens. She goes down south to find herself again, looks like. And I love those finding yourself, especially in the South. I love the South. And She can't do no wrong in my eyes at this point. I love that author. Don't Cry for Me. This is the first book in, like, it's not a series, but a duology, but Isaac's song comes after this. This is the dad. Is his name Jacob? Jacob is dying, and him and his son have had, like, I don't know that they're estranged, but on his deathbed, he's writing letters to explain why he's the way he is with his son. So I don't want to spoil too much, because honestly, I don't know that it says like why he has this strained relationship. And if you don't know anything about this book, if you're new to this channel, if you're new to like booktube and reading, I don't want to spoil that for you. So it's a reason he's estranged from his son. So he's writing letters to explain like why he's been that way. So this book is just like a bunch of letters. It's not so much in letter format. You know, it has the date as to like when he's writing these letters, but it still reads like a story from when I was thumbing through. It still reads like a, you know, regular novel. So I don't know that he's apologizing. Honestly, I don't know. That's why I have to read the book, because I don't know. So very excited. Okay, I didn't even recap. The previous one was an author I've enjoyed before. This one is a book rec from a YouTuber I watch. Kayla's Bookish Vibes did a whole vlog on both of those books. And I honestly, I've never seen her cry reading a book on a vlog or anything like that, and she got teary-eyed. She really connected to that story. Just because she connected to that story may not mean that I'm going to connect to the story like that, but I'm giving it a try because it was a book to recommendation, and I'm here for it. Then I picked The Wedding People. The prompt for this was a new to me author by Allison Espach. I can't even remember what this one is about. I just think it's got some funny parts in it, I believe. It's a beautiful day in Newport, Rhode Island, when Phoebe Stone arrives at the Grand Cornwall Inn wearing a green dress and gold heels. Not a bag in sight, alone. She's immediately mistaken by everyone in the lobby for one of the wedding people, but she's actually the only guest at Cornwall who isn't here for the big event. Phoebe is here because she dreamed of coming for years. She hoped to shuck oysters and take sunset sails with her husband, only now she's here without him, at rock bottom and determined to have one last decadent splurge on herself. Meanwhile, the bride has accounted for every detail and every possible disaster the weekend might yield, except for, well, Phoebe and Phoebe's plan, which makes it that much more surprising when the two women can't stop confiding in each other. So this lady dips out to a place she's always wanted to come with her husband. She meets a lady who's actually getting married. Everybody at this hotel is there for a wedding, and they form some type of relationship. It seems like a good finding me type of story. Like she's going to find herself, you know, while she's by herself, meeting this new person. And I'm here for the ride. Nice contemporary, you know, fiction. Women's fiction, whatever. Then I have A Long Time Coming, Megan Quinn, a book from my favorite genre. I picked this because it's romance. And if I had to choose, you know, a romance with the mix that I have right now, I wanted something funny. So I wanted more of a rom-com as opposed to just, you know, a straight romance, you know. So I want to say this one, I don't think this one is Enemies to Lovers, but I'll read a little bit because I think the second one was that. Let's see. Have you ever heard of A Man in Waiting? Yeah, not many have. Breaker Kane included. But his best friend Leah can't get married without some extra help. That's why she's recruited him to take on the snarling beast that's her soon-to-be monster-in-law, Mrs. Beaver. For some reason, the groom's mother seems to have never heard the phrase, what the bride wants, the bride gets. Lucky for Leah, Breaker has, and he's accepted the challenge. After all, how much trouble can one woman cause? The problem is, it isn't Mrs. Beaver giving Breaker the most grief. It's actually Leah, because with every second her wedding draws closer, he's starting to see her in a different light. She's always been beautiful, but now he finds himself staring a touch too long, his hand lingering for one more minute. And when she's upset, allowing her to sleep in his bed. Before he knows it, he's fallen in love with his best friend. So, Friends to Lovers is what this is, and it's going to be cute. Breaker is the baby Kane brother. Each book in this series follows another billionaire brother. They own a company. Honestly, I can't even remember what the company is because it's been a minute since I read that second one. And this is the youngest brother in that and his story. Love it. I have laughed out loud on all two books, and I don't see this being any different from those. Then I have a spicy read. So I chose Kayla Sean, In This Moment. Love in all its forms is a foreign concept to Garen Taylor. After being let down one too many times by nearly every person in her life, she's sworn off the elusive emotion to focus solely on her career. When tasked with locating and obtaining a rare collection of artifacts for her most important yet difficult client, she finds... Y'all, my battery just died. So I had to finish these last two books this way. So really quick recap. I'm not going to start reading this all again. But basically, she's sworn off men. She's sworn off love. She wants nothing to do with it. I guess she's like a curator. And she needs this specific artifact. And it only is in the hands of this like millionaire guy, billionaire guy or whatever. So you already know how that goes. And it's going to be spicy. So that's this one. And then a suspense thriller. Lisa Jewell, None of This Is True. This has a podcast element. I just got this book. So again, if you want to know what this one is about, I don't want to go in detail on here because I just went into great detail on my book haul, my previous video. So again, if you haven't seen that video, go back and watch that one. And that's what I have. So y'all, thanks for hanging out with me to go over my March wrap up and to see what I'm going to be reading in April. I wanted to kind of combo this video up just because I'm going to be finished with the book I'm currently on now. And I want to jump into something else. And it may not quite be April 1st when I do it. So I just wanted to get this together to know what I'd be reading in April so I know what to choose from. So as always, y'all, thanks for hanging out. And I will see y'all on the next one.